We say good morning to our listeners, good morning to viewers. Welcome to The Point for Monday, the 4th day of August. Welcome one and all once again, especially those of you via social media platforms. Good morning. I was told I'm not shouting you folks out enough. Good morning to you, good morning to you. Certainly hope you're having an awesome morning. Those of you in the preparation mood, if I could say it like that, to come to Grenada. You're watching at your clock, you're counting down the couple of days before you are here. Hopefully you get here before the end of the week. And you wouldn't miss much of the pre-carnival activities, and certainly hope you have a nice time when you do get here. Those of you all here already, I've met a couple of individuals who are here for carnival and enjoying themselves to the max. It's always that good feeling when you're home for carnival. Right. So McIntyre, good morning, sir. How you doing?
Yeah, good morning to you, GT. I am different this morning. I am good personally, like now, I can say, but you may want to ask me about the weekend too. It was terrible.
I am going to ask. I'm just getting you to get into the piece,
to the flow
of things
yes,
this morning.
But I want to join with you.
I find you in a bit of a secluded mood this morning for some reason. You said you're good. I understand. Good. Health-wise, feeling-wise, you're probably good.
Right.
But somehow, sometimes with all the good feeling that you're good, there's always something that has you in a mood that,
Yeah. Well, there comes a time, though, but I just want to be able to join with you to say good morning and well wishes to, and in particular the diaspora who support our carnival season every year, and they bring in so much to Grenada in terms of they add to the gross domestic product.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
They bring a lot. They patronize our local events. They utilize our local food, fruits and vegetables, which is really good. Yeah. And I think around this time there's a lot of fruits and vegetables, mangoes and everything. Yeah, they're good because
for the consumption of these things.
That's correct. Yeah. And one of my sons is here as well. Yeah. He brought some persons with him, and they're feeding on the local stuff, the mangoes, etc., and bananas and all of that.
That's good.
But it's really good to see the support from the diaspora. And as you mentioned, there are some people who are still there coming in. I know there's a group from, I think, from the BVI Toddler area, and somebody told me that they did not make it for some of the shows they wanted to come to because their flights were overbooked and they were placed down. We hope that they make it, but because a lot of people want to come to Grenada, and we hope in all of this that the whole safety factor that we're going to be speaking about.
That's going to be one of the
we're going to take that on board.
Merit around that this morning.
Yes.
A whole lot.
So welcome everybody and good morning. Thank you for tuning in to GBN. Thank you for listening to us. And this is the program where we highlight on the safety issues.
Yes.
First, foremost, for the most.
Now, anything major happened over the weekend, or not that major? Anything that needs that mentioning this morning?
Yeah.
I was a bit out of the regular scenery, I think, for the weekend. It's one of those weekends that I was taking up dealing with a lot of things on a personal level.
Yeah.
So I was out of it in the regular surroundings. I was not really around much to see.
Right. So I wasn't out either. This weekend was definitely a different one for me because I think I did mention on the program last week that the result, what you call the sentencing of the perpetrator regarding my son's death was going to be last Thursday. And after 11 o'clock on Thursday, when the results were given, the sentencings were matched, it was a different situation altogether. Yeah. So my weekend and the rest of the family, we were distraught, kind of a tone on the inside based on the result, and I guess the listeners and viewers, you'll probably hear more about that later on because I think some of it was captured by some of the media people, but obviously the carnival season, a lot will get enveloped in that. So we'll be making a big statement, probably a press conference later on. We'll allow the carnival season to go through, because we want this to have the kind of an impact, because it's not about Sylvan McIntyre, it's not about just my son, but we have been the voice of the people who are disadvantaged, who are being on the other side of the judicial process, and what we are going to be addressing would hinge more on the overall judicial process and some advocacy for change and reform. That is where it's going to go, because we cannot turn back the hands of some things. But I just want to express now that we turning a different page, and I'm seeing all of this that came out of the weekend, I spent the weekend basically. I was just in that kind of a mode to stay inside, hold on myself, process my thoughts and everything else, and think about what the next stage and the next phase. But I just want to express, because we came to this stage, my heartfelt gratitude to the witnesses in that case. Those people came came out. There was one lady who was an eyewitness. She saw everything that happened. And she was traumatized. As a matter of fact, she had 2 mild heart attacks after the situation, because it was so tragic for her just experiencing that. And she had to battle to come to court to give evidence, and I have to really say thank you. There was another young lady who was a lawyer, who was also a witness distant a little bit. She came out, she gave evidence. The police, some of the other witnesses, I really want to say thanks to you. The prosecution's department, DPP's office, and everybody, and even the judge, I want to thank them for helping us to go through to this phase. But obviously, we're not satisfied. We won't be, I'm sure. There is no best result in terms of how we can get resolved with this. Some things we have to accept with the serenity of not being able to change all of that. But we know that going forward, we would want to be able to make the impact, not to represent ourselves, but Grenada. And all of the persons who have been on the wrong side of and not being well treated, those who've been knocked down, not fairly treated, those who died fatally, were not well compensated otherwise, and still the law remains the same, we will be making a definite strong move for reform. So it's a dimension from every bad or negative situation. You want to choose the best out of it. So my atmosphere and my mood this morning probably feel and look different because of all of what I'm carrying on behalf of a lot of people, not just our family. And I just feel it for the pain for those who really don't have a voice and how they have to shove themselves into a situation that they really can't come out of. So we want to be able to be strong and to advocate for change. Just like we believe, and probably will be speaking strongly about that, how there is this strong reform in terms of gun violence, amnesty issues. I am thinking very strongly that there has to be a reform in terms of how people are penalized for drinking, driving, and causing damage and fatalities to our road users. We're going to be speaking about the safety aspect of it, how we're going to advise people to be a bit more safe, because when you have a kind of expectation like we were, and it is not realized, how devastating that could be. I want people to be able to give that kind of support and be able to tell people how to be a bit more safe, because it seems as though the system, judicial or otherwise, don't work on your side.
There's something that folks may always like to have, and I'll probably say it in that particular closure. You can never get closure with issues of those nature, Mr. McIntyre.
Yes.
You know, you may like to, but it never happens.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to the loss of someone who's close to you. You know, maybe someone who's of a distance, or maybe of a friend, and you hear the end result. You may get a form of closure because it's not directly related.
Right.
But once it's directly related, there's never closure.
No,
it's going to be with you for, of course, until you ever go into the great beyond. If I can say to that, for you and other members of the family to come, there'll never be a closure in this. I'll just say, let's forget this. You know?
Absolutely, JT.
There'll never be closure.
Absolutely.
Whether you are happy with the results or not. Also,
a loss is a loss.
A loss is a loss.
Yeah.
So there's never going to be closure.
Yeah, and the thing about it is that, again, we chose a positive side of this and not to be just bashing the system or people. We generated a foundation, and I'll probably tell people what the court sentencing was for that situation, although it will be on news later on. But we created a foundation that we believe a movement that could help Grenada, because as one of my friends messaged me to say, your son had what? He had value. He still have value, and he will continue to have value. And the system should reflect that, not just to my son's life, but to every life. As our foundation says, every life is precious. And people must drive carefully, and people must be responsible for their action. And the system must seem to work with you when you are a victim of a situation and not feel further victimized. And you become a double victim when situations like this occur. And due respect to the judge and everything else, sometimes judges and people within the judicial process who have to walk through situation, it's how the process is undertaken. Put yourself in a judge's position. People criticize them brutally.
But they can feel it for
but
you.
They can feel it for you in one way, and then on the other hand, they have to take decision based on the information provided to them. They're not there. And so people may criticize them, as I said, brutally, but they have to make decision based on what is provided. It means, therefore, that the system of accessing and providing that information, we have to look seriously and deeply into this. I have my own intention to speak. I did not call Commissioner of Police, but I want to be able to have a conversation with him as to how he can help his law enforcement officers be more astute in terms of processes and the reflection of what that process is to the victims. There's a saying that goes that justice must not only be delivered, but it must appear to be delivered. Yes. And so the process of getting information and presenting it, that an action could be taken, that is critical. And we believe that there were weaknesses.
And the manner in terms of information are obtained to in a timely manner is also very crucial.
Critical. And I believe that I identified personally, there were a lot of weaknesses in that process because I'm from a law enforcement background. Yes. And I know processes, and I have seen some things that, as I said, I would want to be able to speak to law enforcement senior people one-on-one with it. But we have to be mindful of the implication. The other thing that has a lot to do with it that we're going to speak to as an aspect of reform is the aspect of alcohol consumption and the amount within someone's system. The process of getting that out of a person who's involved in a condition where the abuse of a substance or a liquid or fluid, for instance, like alcohol, may cause someone to not be in charge of the action that may result in fatal or devastating consequences. So that process of getting that information, the time factor has a lot to do with how that information is gathered. In addition to that, an expansion of that is Grenada has been the first in a lot of ways. And Grenada could be a first in terms of the microgram level of alcohol within someone's system, the ratio at which Grenada's law says it is permissible within a person's system. And that case, if that process in terms of the time factor was undertaken, it could have had a different impact because the judge did articulate that the condition of the alcohol use or abuse had a lot to do with her process of sentencing. She made that clear. Okay. So it impacted how she was going to give the sentence. But realizing then that when the second test level was done, the person, despite the smell of alcohol, the behavior of the person was inconsistent with somebody who was very cognitive otherwise, and the evidence of alcohol, despite that was there circumstantially, the reading that was taken did not support that. Okay. And so that would have affected her decision and a few other things. So that whole process of how information is gathered, the judge have to be able to use those kind of information to make a decision. And sometimes, as I said, Grenada is the first. We need to be able to break precedents. Across the region, there is sometimes what you call suspended sentences to persons who are involved in quote-unquote accidents. Yeah. In this case, they call it an accident. It should have been because it involved vehicle, etc. And then the suspended sentence, it's something that says you can go to prison. It's a custodial sentence of X amount. The guy pleaded guilty to manslaughter. That's a penalty of 5 years in prison. Or mitigating or aggravating conditions may allow the judge to give full sentencing or give a reduced sentence. And in such a situation, she did give a suspended sentence of 3 years. Suspended sentence means that if the person abide by the condition laid out, they would not go to jail, but if they break it, then they could go to jail to serve that time. And then you look, what are the conditions? Are the conditions demanding enough that the victims of that situation would feel that there is a sense of justice? Yeah. So you have to weigh that as well. And we have some challenge with that. And then we're saying here that, like, you have gun violence now that has been reformed, where somebody violates, they found with a firearm or otherwise, they go to prison almost immediately, or they serve a long time.
Yes.
We're seeing that the whole process of the alcohol use and driving and other conditions that may be associated with the dangers of driving on our road, we should look and move strongly to finding a quicker way of getting justice and stiffer penalties that will become a deterrent and make people feel more safe. I know a lot of people who express it right now, and as we're going to be speaking a little bit more on that, they feel no sense of confidence jogging on our roads.
I agree.
They feel no sense of confidence walking on our street because there are no pedestrian crossing.
As drivers ourselves, we feel we don't want to be out there driving.
That's correct, because some people may do something stupid based on what
I drive sometime and I'm of the thought, maybe I should just get off the road.
Yeah.
I should get off the But you know something, Mr. McIntyre, we also have to look at the positive impact that this brings along also. Especially for you able to form the foundation for your son. Speaking to other individuals who may have gone through similar incidents. You understand?
Yes.
Helping some form of the support.
Yeah.
That will bring a positive feeling for them somewhere or the other, that they are individuals who may have gone through this and never had anyone to speak to.
Correct.
Never had anyone to speak to. Yes, the police or the lawyers and so forth may have been involved, but after that, it ends there for lots of individuals.
Yes.
So you have to think about the positive can derive from it in a situation like that. And your foundations certainly will help a lot of individuals in the long run.
Yes.
There are folks who need that someone there for them, not for only for the immediate, but it should be there continuous.
And that is where our foundation comes. It will be the new voice and the venue where people can get some form of representation going forward. And believe it or not, the 6th of March every year, whether it is recognized as a day of road safety, we did make a submission that the state should recognize and have a day of road safety, and we advocated for March 6th, the date which my son tragically died, that should be observed as road safety day, where Grenada could come together and focus on safety issues, expand on it. We know somewhere in October there is like a global road safety day sort of, and a campaign, but we believe that if Grenada generates its own, we could have a stronger impact. And whether the state acknowledges or doesn't want it, we believe through our foundation and the support that I am promised by other people prominent, we're going to recognize and we're going to advocate and we're going to do strong aspects of road safety, at least more strongly on that day. More focused on the 6th of March, rather than just having...
The option is to start thinking different, sir.
Yeah.
We know that the way Grenada is today is not 50 years ago.
No, it definitely isn't.
50 years ago. And sometimes you get the impression individuals are still thinking we still in the 70s or 60s for some reason ever. We have moved on beyond that.
Even our laws. That were created then.
That's critical also.
Laws and procedures.
We have to start thinking that things need a little revamping and looking at it in a different direction.
Absolutely.
We don't have to. I always don't make the statement. I don't like us following suit.
No.
There's let's do like this, do, or let's do like this, do. But we always have a way. I think there are enough individuals in this country who can think differently.
Oh, we have great leaders.
That thought pattern so much that sometimes they don't get the incentive to help.
Yeah.
For various reasons.
Yeah.
You understand? They don't feel, well, I want to contribute for various reasons. But there are individuals who can offer that level of difference that make our country move from one stage to the next.
Of course.
And somehow they don't get involved for various reasons, So back in there, we do for a break.
We'll take it.
We do for a break. Let's take it.
Right.
When we come back, we get into more substantive conversation. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back. Don't touch it out.
In our part of the world, we need to be prepared for natural disasters like storms and hurricanes, even outside of the season. I'm sure you'll agree that keeping our loved ones, homes, and businesses safe is important. So, I came up with a few quick tips to help you stay safe. First, make a family disaster plan and ensure that everyone in your household is familiar and comfortable with it. Remember to add batteries and flashlights to your emergency kit. Don't be caught off guard by natural disasters. Prepare now. For more information, visit grenlec.com.
jumps ready? The biggest party in sports is back. It's Republic Bank CPL 2025. Bowls off August 14th to September 21st. 34 matches, 6 teams, 6 nations. Your Caribbean cricket frenzy. From big sixes to deadly yorkers, catch every boundary, every wicket, every moment. Live on GBM TV and Classic Radio. This is not just cricket. This is CPL. Sponsored by Republic Bank, Glen, and Hubbard. Republic Bank CPL 2025. Don't miss a ball.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's To The Point for today, Monday, August the 4th, 2025. And, I'm seeing someone here, Mr. McIntyre, who's saying, they want to thank us for acknowledging individuals out there in the diaspora. And they, of course, they can do something about the high cost of bananas. I don't know.
The bananas, really?
But actually, we could do something about the high cost of bananas.
Yes, the ripe ones are the green.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you say the high cost of bananas, and you say they cost it costs more than twice the times in Grenada, probably over in the US, I'm assuming.
Right.
They're saying fresh fruits and vegetables are overplayed on the island.
Okay.
And most I pay for a nice ripe banana in the diaspora is 54 cents.
Right. That's $1 plus EC.
Exactly, something of that nature.
There we hear that.
And they're saying that's for a pound of it.
A pound? That's
for in a US supermarket.
Okay, I've seen that too. 39 cents, if it gone up so much, yeah. But I've seen that pound.
And they're saying now in Grenada it's about 4 EC.
No, they're right. No, they're right on that. Yeah.
So which is about $1.50 US. They're saying, do something, of course, to prevent Grenada from becoming a paradise lost.
You're right. They are right on that. I'm all with that person's comment.
Someone always tell me why goat meat is that expensive.
Goat meat?
Yeah.
It's a scarce. It's
and they say what goat eat
a
grass.
Choice.
So they were wondering how much it costs for the grass.
Oh yeah, with the time to goats they are a handful, not just even feeding them, but how you have to care for them.
I understand. So they say, well, it's not like you have to buy extensive food to feed them, but maybe you're paying for the care that you give to them.
Of course, I mean it takes a bit and where you care them and the risk that you associate. Goats, I think they boot people real bad.
I know.
Eventually them right, they knock you down.
Just a little fun time there. Anyway, Mr. Mac, let's get back to a substantive conversation. It's a continuation of what we've been doing for the last 2 weeks, because we know what the island is leading up to, the celebrations of the Carnival 2025, and safety is something that we cannot stop talking about. We have to keep talking about it, and it coincides with some of the major activities that are going to be happening the next couple of days.
Right.
And that will lead up to next week, Carnival Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
Drivers on our nation's roads.
Yes.
You of course spoke at length in terms of the situation that led to the loss of your son, but it may happen to someone else coming up in the next couple of days.
Yeah.
The consumption of alcohol.
Yes, of course.
You understand?
We have to speak
thinking, well, I'm good enough to drive. You feeling that particular way.
Yeah.
So that's where the authorities know we want them to be a little bit more vigilant.
Yeah.
In terms of that. Saying it straight off the bat, don't joke around with that. Don't joke around in terms of once someone is observed driving in a particular manner, you should stop them.
Yeah.
Take a check in terms of them, check their whole structure in terms of if they've been consuming alcohol or other substances that may be involved.
Yeah.
You understand? Because that's important.
Yeah.
So we want safety to be something that should dominate the conversation for the next couple of days.
Yes. And we have been doing it, I think, 3 weeks in a row. We've been hitting.
And we still haven't been enough for doing it.
No, we can't. I don't think we could. We could probably do it now, but not too much. And it is really hitting home in terms of the whole aspect of the safety factors. And as I told you, I trust my sense of intuition as to how we can, help this nation to be a bit safer. Yeah. And the whole aspect of abuse of substances and alcohol all these things that can inhibit somebody's ability to be very conscious, cognitive, responsible on our roads and in their homes, etc. We have to focus on that. But outside of that, adults can become like animals to an extent, no disregard, and like children. And unless they are faced repeatedly with some things that has a penalty to it, it really don't hit home. And unless there are some fatalities associated and it doesn't hit home directly, the rules come to home to some people, they don't see it as they are responsible.
That don't care feeling towards it comes around. Just can't be bothered. So
how do we cope that don't care, laissez-faire attitude, careless behavior, and callous in some instance? I believe strongly that this is an opportunity, again, supported by the recent events and our own family turn, that law enforcement has to be more forceful. Even if you are not arresting people, because arresting people in a festive situation and where there's a crowd is one of maybe a last resort, unless it is an extreme situation. But what I would like to suggest and we would like to see happening that would give us an environment, an atmosphere of greater safety, is to have more presence of law enforcement on our streets. And while, yes, there are major festive occasions where law enforcement is expected to be, but we would hope to see that more in-depth community involvement. And you ask me, do we really have enough police officers to involve the community so strongly, or to get into the deep, arteries of the country to find people wherever they are in communities? I think we could. It's not what you do, but how you do what you do. The police,
we all are police officers ourselves,
there's the whole aspect of being non-uniform police officers, and to be non-law enforcement in the sense of wearing a uniform. But every person could become a law enforcement person themselves. What individuals or citizens we can do, and even visitors, is to be vigilant yourself, to be law-abiding yourself, and to support law enforcement in uniform by reporting the places and occurrences and individuals that create some level of threat. And that law enforcement people should be more forceful, more engaging. Not too much of the tapping on the shoulder and go ahead, man, and stop the drinking. You should not. But be able to pull some people in, suspend them from certain places, detain them in certain places for a period of time until they can really check themselves. Not necessarily giving them the fines or the charges. In some cases you'd have to. But we believe if they see that law enforcement, they are removing people, they are detaining people, they are suspending people, they are restricting people's movement and activities. Constant checking. That in itself is a deterrent. And I would want us to show that. As I said, I am intending to engage our chief, who is really open and receptive to conversation, that we would want to, as a public, to be able to feel law enforcement stronger, and there should be a greater emphasis on road safety and the consumption and the use of alcohol. We understand that, yes, you will be a bit more flexible. They should be, because a festive season that you allow your tolerance level to be expanded a little bit more. But it shouldn't be to the point where it becomes a safety factor to the rest of the public. So we are saying, pick up persons, arrest those who have to be arrested, do checks in places that are sometimes not very obvious, and even those that are obvious, and be forceful in what you do, but still be civil. That in itself can break a lot of things down, because sometimes we see law enforcement is not sometimes what you do, but it's how you do what you do.
Especially the individual with past issues who may be out there for various reasons. Yes, they probably serve some time, but that constant checking on them. Because sometimes if you realize some of the individuals that are we seeing those those incidents occurring, are folks who've been in particular incidents before. And yes, they may have served some time, but they come back out and do the same stuff again.
They do.
You understand?
And they should form part of your start point.
Yes.
When you're doing your surveillance issues and your investigative issue or your preventative patrol measures.
It's not about safety, once these individuals are looked into, of course, it will create a difference to other individuals around.
Yes. So law enforcement has a great deal, and public, you will find us speaking about law enforcement in almost every one of our programs, because law enforcement is critical to everything that we do. It helps in your financial stability, your economic bringing and output and outlook, and your ability to be able to attract investors or people from across the globe. They would evaluate and assess the security environment, the safety of how you can conduct, transact business, etc. That is critical. So the whole aspect of safety and security, you cannot understate that. It runs on par with the finances of a country. As a matter of fact, it could be even more important, because if you may have as much finance as you want, but if you do not have the safety and the security environment in which to be able to spend or utilize it, it sometimes become of no use. So it is first and foremost, and the safety of individuals. We have the Lord, we have Jesus Christ, we have God, but God has to come through the people who are flesh and blood. Law enforcement and other good citizens who would be the hands and feet, the mouth and so on is and everything of what the deity and so on is expecting us to be as a nation. People speaking to each other, people exercising tolerance to each other, people respecting the rights of other people and do not have individual of lesser importance to others. That is critically important. So we speak about the role of law enforcement around the season as critical in how assertive they are in enforcing those things. The places that sell alcohol, they must have their license.
Yes.
And there should be no compromise to that. And the little boxes around the streets and the little places that would go on beyond particular hours and particular places, you cannot say that this is carnival and everybody have to eat a food. You're eating that kind of food at whose expense.
McIntyre, but this is important, because sometimes you see these little roadside events that are taking place. I think should be one of the criteria for having these events, that you should be having police officers at the event, which should be at a cost to you as whoever is promoting these events.
Yes.
So you have to have 2 or 3 officers there per night if you want to have that event. And it all rolls out with the safety issue of concern to safety.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know if you think it makes
no, it makes a lot of sense.
You want to have these events, you want to get the permission. Police officers is needed at you need to have police officers at the event.
Yeah.
That is part of the criteria for you being granted the permission.
Well, it may not necessarily be police officers.
I'm just saying it's a way of, it may not be the police officer.
It could be security.
Some security person.
That will they have some level of training that they are law enforcers as well. So where the police cannot be, there should be some security representation.
I agree. I mean, whether you hire a private security services, but I will always prefer to have the police there for some.
Yes, but you cannot always have
that uniform
presence. It says a lot, but it's too much of an expectation from them, because remember, it's right now it's like 1 police per 100, maybe to 110 or 120.
I understand.
That is the ratio, and
we're not having 120 events for the night. So
well, per persons,
Yeah.
So if you think about the amount of persons that is going to be at one event.
You there a little bit.
No, but it's good. It's good, GT, that those conversations be raised, and there is sometimes, like you might be saying, people do not see it, and that's why our program is very useful, because we break down and we give the explanation, we give the insights on either side of people, because there are persons who may have that kind of an unreasonable expectation of law enforcement and police, and they would expect them to be everywhere at every event. It is not possible. Our responsibility as citizens, as individuals, we need to be able to support them. So when a patrol passes, we should be able to put our hands out and stop the police and chat to them and ask, officer, how you doing, and so on. And in a nice way, speak to them and say, listen, you tell them, and people who have to understand, you're not making a report, but you're saying that area of the road, the officers, all they need to check it out.
Mr. McIntyre,
that helps a lot.
Also, not bashing the police, but sometimes it works as a deterrent for individuals not wanting to share information.
Yeah.
Because I have listened to individuals who have spoken to police officers about incidents where you think they should look into, and nothing was done about it.
Right.
You understand? Nothing was done. Officer, I'm seeing X, Y, or Z taking place, and I think the force should look into that.
Yeah.
And then nothing is done about it. For instance, the gun-related incidents we've been having lately. Sometimes you go to the Wall Street and there's no police officers there.
Yeah.
And they used to.
Right.
Be just patrolling for whatever reason.
Right.
But for lately, sometimes you don't see them again as before.
Right.
And I understand the limited resources of the police now. The police officers know. But I'm just saying, And you have to keep this thing ongoing and not stop. You go in certain communities and you say, if police officers are there doing those patrols on a regular basis, it will eliminate individuals who want to commit these crimes or think the police is around. You understand? That's just my thought on it. As limited as the resources be, I think one or two could be, of course,
yes.
made themselves available.
I am supporting your GT. You're looking as though I'm not supporting you. I am supporting you in your your submission. But the thing about it is yes, you are speaking on the deterrent factor.
Yeah,
and that is critical.
But it's also wrong to safety issue too.
Yes,
it makes you feel safer as
when you see a uniform presence.
When someone in uniform is around.
Yeah,
you understand. On the nation's roads, if a police officer is always on the streets driving around for a particular reason, not doing personal things, but on a way of safeguarding individuals on the nation's road, it's going to cause individuals to slow down.
Yes,
you understand. Because
individuals generally have a responsibility to behave themselves and conduct themselves.
Should behave themselves.
I went to an event. I think it was a Grenada event in Canada a couple of years ago. That's just around the time when Ajamo came down, I think, with the syndrome that he had, yes, and so forth. He was expected to be at that show. And I looked around for the amount of police officers. I saw two. There were thousands of people there. And I asked them.
But it made people behave.
But the point, it speaks a lot to the behavior of the people, yeah, and maybe the penalties that they understand if they violate that they're going to face. Yeah. So they are forced in a way to conduct themselves in a particular way, because you don't need a lot of police to police when the legislation in itself is a deterrent. And that is the angle where we need to go, that you do not always need the police presence. The law itself must police itself, and because it's a strong deterrent factor. There are two ways about a lot of things that happen in Grenada. Two things is either people buckle up or the treasury get fat. Yeah. The penalties or the prison, we don't want it to be overcrowded, and we are not saying that you should build stronger and bigger prisons, but we believe that people must feel a sense of being punished, penalized for offenses, and in a lot of ways it doesn't come across that way in Grenada. Yeah. And so it is something that we, as I said before, will be advocating strongly for. We will have a voice. Grenada have to stand up. We have to come out for reform, especially when somebody commits a traffic violation compounded by the use of a substance, in particular alcohol. We have to be stronger on that.
I agree with you, sir. I agree with you 100%. We drew for a break. But before that break, I want to read this, that someone has a message that someone has sent you via the WhatsApp, and they're saying, I wish to commend Mr. McIntyre for speaking out on the critical issue of road safety in our country. As a frequent road user, both as driver and pedestrian, I find it increasingly distressing to be on the roads these days. Reckless driving, drunk driving, yes, especially during the carnival season, has become alarming concerns. The lack of consideration for others on the roads put lives at risk daily. Another pressing issue is roadside parking, yes, which often narrows already congested streets and creates hazard for both drivers and pedestrians. Also, person who takes early morning walks. I've also noticed that the concrete trucks poses a particular danger, not only due to their size and the speed, but because of the concrete spills that they leave along the roadsides, making the walking condition hazardous. I also urge the relevant authorities to take the matter seriously and implement effective long-term solution. Public awareness, stickers, enforcement of the traffic laws, and better infrastructure management are essential if we are to reclaim safety and order on our roads.
Oh yeah, that person who contributed there is still as part of our foundation already.
Yes,
people like this who would have a voice and would advocate. Those are some people that we'll welcome on board to be able to help us to be there, to keep pressing on the issues until we can see some change. That person is absolutely on point with those issues that are made. We have to be more forceful in ensuring, yes, that kind of behavior, especially around now this season, as we mentioned before, we have to see our enforcement mechanism and our structure of showing that we are safety-minded and safety-conscious, that has to be more obvious.
We have to make sure our safety match. We have to prove that it works.
Yeah,
that's the critical way of saying it there. We have to prove that it works, because sometimes folks get the impression that whatever happened is not working.
Yeah,
and we have to show that yes, there are the laws and there are the penalties out there that will work to make sure we, as a form of deterrent, not wanting to do that again. Because folks feel I'm hearing this individual did this and they were allowed to walk free. I hear this individual did this and you see them doing it again. Sometimes you see individuals who are speaking a nation continue doing it on a daily basis. And you wonder, is there anything, sometimes you see individuals driving at reckless speeds.
JT, let me interject again. The nation and the people I speak to, they are so outraged when they understand maybe what was not presented before the court, the circumstances prior to the activities of the individual, maybe what they see, what they saw, ingested or otherwise, and the speed of the vehicle that the witnesses saw. When people heard the outcome, I know a woman who literally cried and said, she said to me, I feel your pain and your family. And others said, that can't be right. The image of what, went on in terms of on the road, somebody vividly, obviously, under the influence or otherwise, driving at a particular speed, took somebody, just disappeared off the street, up into the air, how much feet up into the air, parts of what the person was wearing spilled all over, body substance and so on, hit the ground afterwards, strewn across for about 30 to 40 feet. And then the person driving away and everything else, and they're saying that is the end result. That could never be right. That is the expression of a lot of people, and it's not that the process or the individual delivering the process of justice or intentional, but the whole system has to be revisited to make it right. Not just to appear to be right, to appear to be right and to be right. It just doesn't a lot of times add up. It is too painful.
All right. So back in the way, due for a break. Let's take it when we come back. We continue the conversation. I see the phones are going and so forth. We may entertain a couple of calls when we do come back in the next segment. 435-204. We'll be right back after the break. Stay with us, folks.
It's back.
August 6th, concept events together with Flatlands Park Ship and Print present Pre-Day Black and Bougie featuring Telford, the Jab Boss and his Grenadian family. We coming through. My people coming through. This is Pre-Day featuring Terra the Governor. I said we get them job. We go get them job. Muddy. Capital Jab. Boat. Easy.
I don't give one boy without the way.
What's way?
Nobody I know them others can't.
Lava Man.
When I feel me strong number, all kind of thing I tell me. Mother, tell me who mother.
Wonder Daddy. Vaughn and there's so much more.
Decision. Spice must could never be a bad decision.
Wednesday, August 6th, the Grenada National Stadium. Gates open at 10 p.m. Showtime 11 p.m. Grenada, get ready. This is Black and Bougie.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. Of course, we're into the final segment of today's program. We just have around 13 minutes or so moving up before 10 o'clock. In this segment, we invite listeners and viewers, and we beg of you to keep your conversation on subject, please. We're talking about safety a whole lot. Safety in terms of our roads, the season that's approaching. Safety in terms of the major events that are taking place. The event promoters make sure the safety protocols are implemented to help patrons to have to minimize violence and so forth. Safety is a pivotal concern around now. So we beg of you to keep your conversation around that level. Sometimes folks get a tendency to want to divert. We beg of you to keep it on that part, please. Let's take our first caller. Caller, you're live via WhatsApp. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, and thank you so much for having me. Mr. McIntyre and Mr. Host and Mr. GT, thank you all for being unrelenting in promoting road safety and highlighting the issues we face. I have two short questions. Number one, I'm listening to the program right now. My concern is I wonder how much of the public, especially the drivers, are actually listening to this program. So I think it would be a great idea if we can find a way to make sure that information is passed on to the general public, especially drivers. Number two, as alluded to in an earlier program by the host, it wasn't you, Mr. GT, regarding the importance of commercials in broadcasting, something got to pay the overhead. Now, it was a different context. They were not talking about road safety, but they highlighted the importance of commercials. So here comes my comment. You listen to the radio station, broadcasting, and in commercials, alcohol consumption and use are promoted in songs, etc., especially around this time of the year. So on one hand, we're talking about the dangers of alcohol usage, and on the other hand, we actually promoting it by virtue of commercials and so on, and highlighting something which is known to pay the overhead commercials. So don't you think that that's a problem? And what can we do to really make the message of alcohol consumption, abuse, and in driving particularly, and with violence, what can we do to really make that message more forceful? Because we could be undercutting ourselves in our commercials. Thank you so much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. I guess you get the drift where the caller is coming from.
I do, definitely.
We get the drift where he's coming from.
Yes, that you advertising something, but even cigarette smoking on the boxes says there's a caution on it.
It's bad for you. It's bad for your health.
Yes, it's bad for your health and all of that. But I believe that the commercializing of alcohol and all of that, there has to be some control on it, definitely. And in my opinion, if it is not an illegal thing, alcohol is legal. So people can advertise it, they can sell it, and I don't think there's any limit on how much you can sell either. Yeah. So it's a way of having us, I think, nationally, we have to look deeper into it, and maybe some conditions could be put on the commercialization of the alcohol, more in terms of what it causes. So yes, you're speaking about it, the sale of it. It's something that is legal. People have to sell it, but I figure personally that there should be a stronger emphasis on the downside of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We do have another caller. Caller via. Good morning to you. By the direct line. Good morning. You're welcome.
Morning, GT. Morning, Mr. McIntyre, and morning to the listeners and your viewers. Now, Mr. McIntyre, I don't know the outcome of your situation, the case, but I could feel whatever pain you have. I could understand the pain because I had the pain as a child when my brother was killed on the road in the early 70s. He was coming from school. At that time, my mom was in hospital in Barbados. She had just gone just a few weeks before. And the trauma and everything that happened, and at that time, it wasn't about the level of alcohol in the system, but it was children weakness versus the driver. So as you know, code can be a certain environment, so the guy got away. And then in the 80s, I lost someone, albeit in Trinidad, this one in Trinidad. And up to now, there's no outcome in the case. And she was a nurse and so on, and all these road accidents have affected me. But the earlier caller mentioned about the people, like, for instance, drivers being beneficiary to the program like this. And I've always, I think I've raised it already, always concerned that while these programs are excellent, the people that really should be, it should reach, I don't think it reaches them, it's reaching the converted. Having said that, I think we need to re-examine how we do life. For instance, it is said that the first 7 years of a child is where its download takes place. The child absorb whatever attitude we have towards anything that is important, whether it's authority or so on, that kind of stuff. And when we, after 7, if we didn't get things right before 7, it means very difficult for us to really inculcate certain values. So we need to begin to relook at how we do life. I don't want to say education. Then the other thing about it is, in terms of the responsibility of the liquor dealers, and I want to raise that question with people. When did we become an alcoholic nation? Ajamo said in one of his songs years ago that we are a drunken nation. It would seem to me, when I reflect back, alcohol was not a problem among young people before 1983. I mean, we had issues with the narcotics and so on, but it was never, because people were engaged, they were doing things, they were working, and even the elderly people who were involved, the older people who were involved in drinking, they drink after they work, but people drinking before they work now. So this is an indictment on our society. We need to look at that very seriously. Thank you very much for indulgence.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Your take on the caller's contribution in terms of the timeline where that he's seeing the over-excessive use of alcohol. Are you in agreement with him with that?
I don't know what the statistics has shown, but I have to respect his observation if it is true. But whether there is an increase in it or not, we have to move with the times.
Yeah.
And this is what our legislative arm should be able to do. This is what we should analyze through town hall meetings and discussions, etc. How with the moving times are we moving? Are we behind? Are we playing catch up? Yeah. And I think, just as I said before, if we moved with as what is seeming to be the increase in gun violence throughout our region, and we are changing legislation and becoming more forceful, similar, we should look at the consumption rate of alcohol and measures we should put in place to curb it. I don't think we're doing that sufficiently.
We do have another caller. WhatsApp caller, you're live. Good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
Go ahead, please.
And guess I should say. I would like to say that it's not only the killing of people, drunk drivers, but there's another problem in that the louder music that is passing on the road most times in the night, and it rattles the window of the house, the song, sometimes people can't even get to sleep. Another thing is the bright lights on the road. When you're driving in the night and the lights, it could actually blind you when the vehicle pass. So I think all these things, the drivers and the public or Grenadians, they should stop doing these things. Because it's not nice to be driving the road with such loud music. So I just want to tell Mr. McIntyre that I also feel his pain, because I had a daughter that died the 31st of August, will be 2 years, and this pain, this grief don't go. It will take a long time. So Mr. McIntyre, I'm sitting with you. So be good, and we'll all have to trust in God.
Thank you, caller. Appreciate your contribution. Thank you so much. We do have another caller. Caller, you're live. Good morning, welcome.
Yeah, good morning, gentlemen. Yeah, no, talking about disaster and case and all environment-wise and thing, Carnival comes maybe next week should be Carnival. We have people playing jab every time with tar and paint and things, dirty environment, dirty all the street, all the place and all the fields that go back in the sea and all, I told them in the past years going by, a jab go play a black pants and a black jersey and make yourself comfortable with that. And a blue devil thing, a blue pants and a blue top and you're good. Instead of tearing yourself, you hook tar your body with tar. Dirty the whole environment, dirty up all the paint on the side of the road where the painter, but go and spend money back on it again. And throw all the garbage in the sea, on the beach where you do and bathe into more resort. I find it's time we over this kind of, this thing we say was in slavery time, so we contribute to our tradition. So that time we can change the system and go a different way as you're living. I saw a gentleman in town on Saturday one day with a police officer. A gentleman had a knife exposed in his pocket and thing, out of his pocket, inside his pants. So the officer had been told him that, gentleman, put a knife in the bag. He didn't go to have a knife on the outside of that. The gentleman, she said, you put a knife inside the bag, he on the opposite side. So he put it inside for a while, and he make a turn, and he come, and the officer let him go. Now, if he come back and the officer take knife from him and go with it, now he go say he's worried on the case, There's a project I see about a project going on in the road right now. They're building a drain in the road right now in the rainy time. They're doing project. I know why it was choose time to do things like that in the rainy season to do project like that. We can do something in January month when outside dry. Do all what we could do for Glen to go forward all the time than within the dry in the rainy season when we sort of fall now. With that time we're doing project in Glen now. There was a drain building right now, which I find it's not the proper thing they're doing right now in New Road.
All right.
Thank you. I like the engineers to go and see it and give a detail about the engineers in Green who know about project and what they're supposed to do. After the gentleman building a bridge inside building a drain.
All right. Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. I appreciate your call. We do have another caller via the WhatsApp. WhatsApp caller, you're live. Good morning. Let's hear from you.
Good morning, GT.
Good morning.
Good morning to Mr. McIntyre. No, I listen to your program all the time, and this is the first time I get on to your program. Or more or less the first time I try.
Okay, welcome.
You there?
We listening to you. Go right ahead, please.
Yeah. I'm the son of an old police named Tosti Pierre. And I was fortunate, to learn these things from him. Nothing might be sounding simple. Children, the nation children at home now, and we have mangoes in seasons. And one of the things we have to tell our children with the fruits, avoid throwing the skins in the road, because that's very dangerous. I remember some years.
We seem to be losing you for some reason. All right.
On this mango skin. So this is one of the things maybe we could talk about. And not only it's important to talk about driver, but as pedestrian or nation people, we need to, in that aspect. So maybe you could emphasize on it or something like that. Thanks,
And as well too. Thank you.
Appreciate your call. We probably could accommodate one more.
Yeah.
We lost that one, so let's try this one. See if we can accommodate this one. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning. Welcome.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Right. My concern is the sidewalk parking. I don't know why the police allow vehicles to park on the sidewalk and causing pedestrians have to go into the traffic. I could tell there's a particular vehicle parks on Granite Road, a green vehicle parks on the sidewalk. People going to take the early morning walk, they have to go onto the pavement. Why the police allow vehicles to be parking on the sidewalk? And so nothing is being done, so guys just take it as, okay, it's normal, we can park there. The police, to make the presence be seen, not felt, but seen. So in that, I do believe that they need at least probably 175 police officers in the traffic department. The other areas in the police force service is doing their duty, but the traffic department is what's lacking. I don't drive at night again because of this bright light. It's sickening to be driving at night. I go out in the evening and I try to get home before dark. So I really, really need the traffic department needs to beef up their act and make the place safer for the road users. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Appreciate your call and your contribution this morning. Mr. McIntyre, we come to that level of the stage in the morning where we have to take a wrap for today's program. We will not be here next week.
No.
Yeah, you'll probably be playing on Juve or here.
I'll be somewhere looking out for people who are and trying to send that kind of away safety.
Yes.
So, duty in summary then, it's Carnival days next Monday and Tuesday.
Yeah.
There are a few activities leading up to Carnival. There are lots and lots more activities around, and the prevalence of alcohol and obviously the use of substances that can inhibit our ability, prevent us from thinking and behaving responsibly. I advise the general public to be responsible in your thinking, in your action. The use of alcohol, despite it being legal, it has to be taken with some level of moderation and consideration, particularly if you are going to be responsible for a vehicle or anything, maybe a tool or instrument that can be detrimental or could cause injury or death to someone. If you're leaving your homes, please, the young ones, the children, be mindful that they can be exposed to things that can be harmful to them. Ensure things are safe, the issues of safety for utilities and everything else, that they be controlled, or at least there's a senior person who understands how to take care of these things. If you are going to be on our roads, drivers, gentlemen and ladies, if you're going to be one of those joggers in the morning or in the evening, please be careful, be cautious. Wear something reflective or stay off the street. The mere fact that the law, the judicial system does not seem to work in our favor, we advise you to take care of yourself and be mindful of the risk associated with your action. And let us be strong in our advocacy for reform in the legislative agenda, that persons who violate the law, that there should be stiffer, greater, stronger penalties, and those who are the enforcers of the law, they'll be more thorough, transparent in their actions, so that when decisions are made, they could be more palatable, they could be more acceptable to those who are victims, and there will be less or no victimization of those who are already victims. Should we not do this, there'll be more parents, more families, people crying out for justice, and there'll be people like myself who will be living with lifelong pain, irreversible, and the things that sometimes we wonder if it will be an end.
All right.
So once again, everybody, please be safe and be mindful of those around you.
Mr. McIntyre, I want to thank you once again. Thank you a whole lot for, of course, being on today's program. Of course, it's a bit of a program with a slight twist today for some reason or the other. And best wishes for the rest of the day and the week to come.
Thank you very much.
Hope to see you doing what you do, of course, for the upcoming season that you mentioned. Of course, your safety programs and being out there to help individuals during of course, the celebrations.
And look out for us. For those of you who want to volunteer along with me and others, looking out for the first aid response and so forth, we need people. We want to be at the major events outdoor, at the one in Latan St. David's, Sotiers, and we want to be in groups in St. George as well. Grenville is not left out either.
All right. Until then, have a good one, folks. That's how we say goodbye for today's edition. Join me again tomorrow once the Almighty permits. I'll be here for another edition of To The Point. That's how we say goodbye for today.